Welcome to Code Cruncher Tech. Code Cruncher Tech today we'll be downloading Git, and I'll show you how that download works and where to get it from. So let's get started. So essentially, where you want to go to is git slash scm.com. You can get there also by just going to git scm slash download, or you can just search for git space download on Google, and then from the search query, go directly to this page. Uh, Here you can install it for Mac, Linux, Unix, and Windows. Since I'm on a Windows machine, let's download for 2.3 for Windows. This should start automatically. Since I already had a download going, I'm going to hit cancel. Um, so you can see that. I'll show that here. So yeah, it says here download. I'm gonna hit cancel, but you can hit you can hit save. So I'm gonna hit cancel here. So cancel. Since I already had one installed, I'm going to open that file. So once that opens, I will show you what that looks like. So we now have the setup going. So you can check this if you already have Git installed as an upgrade, or you can not. So I already have this installed, so I'll click this. But let's undo this to see what's next. Essentially, you can choose the things you want to install. You can get Windows Explorer integration, which Windows Explorer is basically your file system. So you get Bash here, get GUI here, large file support, you associate your .gif configurations, etc. And so if you click any of those, essentially you can go with the default. You can choose a Git editor to choose. For example, if you have Vim, you can use Notepad++, Visual Studio Code, Sublime, Atom, or any of these. Vim is the default, so you can choose that. So the name of the initial branch uses there's default branch, currently master. You can default to something different. So specifically, I like to use main rather than master. Just main just is more clear that it's the main branch, personally. And so you can override that if you want. And here you can use Git from Git bash only, meaning you can't access it from anywhere else unless you bring up a Git bash. Recommended is you can install it to get it from any command prompt. So, for example, if you actually use the command prompt rather than Cygwin or from Visual Studio Code or anything, that will be installed. And or you can choose this option, which basically gives you all the Unix tools as well. I'll go with the recommended, and then you can choose which certificate library to use: OpenSSL or native Windows Secure Channel Library. And this is to figure out which protocol to use if you make an HTTPS connection. So, such as if you want to connect to GitHub, and you can configure the line ending. So you can keep the Windows hierarchy, but your commits are Unix style line endings, which is good because if anyone pulls it down and they're using Linux, it's fine. You check it out as is, but you commit with Unix line endings, so there's no conversions. You check out as is, you commit as is, meaning that if you have the different file endings, which on Windows it's line ending and character return, but I'll keep it as is. So I'll keep it that one. You can figure out which TTY you want to use. You can use a default or anti-TTY. And when you git pull, basically you can choose which way to do it, if rebases or only fast forwards or does a fast forward or merge. If you don't understand this text, I would recommend default strategy, but essentially there's different ways that Git will basically understand and interpret the command git pull. I would search more about this, but essentially I'll give you a quick overview. Basically what this means is to fetch and merge. If I'm at point C in my branch and I get point E, I'm basically moving my point from D to E, and then merging those into one. Rebasing is basically saying if I'm on D and I get E, I basically move E in front of my D commit, and then all my commits are pushed forward. And the other one's only ever fast forward. So I jump from D, I skip all the way to F, if F is what I'm fetching, and I don't merge. So I'll go to defaults. So in this version, it seems like it's new to have a Git credential manager, and then this old one is deprecated. Sure, I guess I'll use new one. Here you can enable file system caching if you want to have more better performance, and enable symbolic links. You can have file system caching. And basically there, install. These are the things that will be installed. So if I go back, I already have it installed. Let's show the new options. I already want a Vim editor. I basically want main. Use OpenSSL. I want fast forward and merge. Git credential manager. Don't want file system caching. So replacing and use files. Oh, that was a strange error. Close it is required. Well, I have a terminal open, so it would need me to do that. So if I close that, cool. Now if I install, interesting. So let's see. Aha. Close a window. So the issue right now is I have a window open. So if I close that, and now if I install this, should basically install. Now it'll ask for your admin password. So that'll install. And essentially it's like a general install. I see. So essentially that'll install. So since I don't have system admin access, I wasn't able to install it. But essentially once that goes through, they should have, let's try to run that as administrator. If you do get an error such as that. So if we get that, essentially it will run as administrator. And that'll ask you for your administrator password. So now this will install. And you should get something like that. So let's hide those. Yep. Okay, all defaults. Yep, call git. Choose your editor again. Again, I'll choose main. Third party. Use OpenSH. Apparently there's Tortoise Blink available for me. Use OpenSSL. So as I mentioned, this is like the recommended, so I'll keep that. And the file system caching is fine. If you just want all defaults, you can just hit next. So now this is gonna install. This shouldn't take too long. And then we can move on from there and show what the git bash looks like. I think would be pretty cool. And then essentially from there, you basically have a Linux terminal, which is great. You can still use command prompt if you really want to, or you can use the Linux style terminal. I prefer the Linux style terminal, but it's really up to you and your comfort level. For example, if you're fairly new to coding, just getting these tools set up, I would recommend using Git Bash mostly because you can learn all the Linux commands well on Windows, and then you can transfer that knowledge over to a Mac or a Linux-based machine, especially if you want to dual boot or if you happen to want to just wipe your Windows side and just install Linux onto it. At least you'll at least know all the Linux commands, and you can um, progress in your career that way. All right, so now I don't want to review release. I can just launch Git Bash. All it loads. Wow, there we go. So you can have your normal Linux commands, ls, your cd, of course, just get you to the current directory. And yeah, that's how do you install Git. Uh, Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you like this video. Comment if you like this video or dislike this video. Comment to give me more suggestions on what videos you'd like to see. And our next episode will install Go. And I'll see you next time. Bye.